Alright, all parties have been notified. Hello, hello, and welcome. Thank you so much for your patience, by the way. It has been a rough couple of weeks for me, but I am finally back and ready to party. Welcome to Night Rights. This is a chill writing event. I am Jax Wolff. I do fantasy shit. But, if this is your first time at Night Rights, the premise is pretty simple. We just sit here, we chill, we talk. People say things in the chat, and I read them aloud and then respond to them. And we all have a good time. At 8:30, we start in on our writing proper. Some nights I'll be me reading aloud if I'm editing something, which you might see a little bit of tonight because we are getting to the part where I don't have anything left to write. But otherwise, it's if I'm writing, I will be doing word sprints with you guys. You'll see a timer in the bottom left-hand corner. That's for the 20 minute, the one that's for 20 minutes. Basically, how this works is you have 20 minutes to do whatever you feel like. Can be writing, can be editing, can be whatever you feel like. Then at the end of the 20 minutes, we take a break. Usually 15 minutes, most likely more because I like to talk. And we talk about our progress first. For writers, that's how many words you've written. For editors, that's how many words you've read, but it can be however you feel best represents your progress. For anybody else, it's just whatever you did for the past 20 minutes. At the end of the 15 minutes / whatever, I feel like stopped whenever I feel like I don't need to talk anymore. We start in on another 20 minutes, and we will do that 3 times. If I'm editing, you will hear me read things aloud and also curse profusely over things that I have written. But we'll see if we get to that part. As with every Night Rights, there's always an icebreaker of the night that will help you ease into the chat. Tonight's icebreaker of the night is pretty simple. It's just a craft question because I definitely didn't forget to do it within the past 10 minutes. And it's, what's your writing routine like? So basically, where are you when you write? What time is it when you write? What do you have with you when you write? And how do you actually get into the entire writing headspace? And it looks like we also have a couple of people dropping in on chat. Hello, Lily and Companion. Welcome, welcome. It's been a while. I mentioned that at the start of the stream, probably before you dropped in, but I'm feeling a lot better. You can hear that I'm feeling a lot better. I'm definitely not coughing as much, so I'm definitely ready to do this. But it has been a while, so feel free to tell me how you guys are doing. Also, if you're on Blue Sky, happy P2P Pit Eve. I'm still on the fence about whether or not I'm going to be doing it, but all signs kind of point to no, because work's going to be a bitch tomorrow. I am very much open to the fact that it's going to be a bitch tomorrow. And P2P Pit is a truncated-ish pitch event. It's unlike some other pitch events that you'll find on Blue Sky. It's only lasting from 9 a.m. I think Eastern, I have to double check, all the way to 9 p.m. And it's like, it's a Friday, guys. It's actually, like, a lot of us have 9 to 5s. Sure. I don't know how that's gonna work, but whatever, I guess. We don't have to, I keep telling myself, we don't have to participate in every single pitch event. It's fine to skip one. Lily Lockwood says, icebreaker, haha, what is routine? I write when the creativity demons strike. That's a mood. I mean, I try to answer my own question, I try to write every single day. But when that happens, tends to vary, and also where and what I'm doing. My writing routine looks a lot like I get off work, I promise myself that I'm going to write, I do other things for hours, and then after I do the other things, I sit there for another half an hour watching YouTube videos until it's about 2 a.m. and I'm like, oh shit, I need to write, and then I start writing. Companion says, you guys have a routine. I guess mine is typically in the afternoon or evening, and I write either in the living room or bedroom, either on laptop or phone, whichever is easier at that moment. That's fair. That's fair. Excuse me. Lily Lockwood says there's also a ton of pitch events this month. Everyone decided to pounce on January when they moved over from Twitter, right? It's either pitch events or nano events, because there are also 2 different nano events that I'm aware of. There's January, and then there's Starting Off Right, which I should be a part of, but oops, I fucked that one up. But literally, there was a Blue Pit, which was fantastic, by the way. But P2 Pit, then I think there are 2 more next week. One of them is an industry event, an actual Twitter-style industry event where you're courting agents and all that kinds of fun stuff. You know what? I'm good. I have the schedule. Let me see real quick. Because somebody put up a Google Doc and it's fantastic. Okay, so there are just 5. We just passed Blue Pit. There's P2P Pit, which is tomorrow. And then on the 24th, it's You Deserve Pit, which is another author hype event. 2025 Pit is the one that's the industry event. Then Small Pitch, which is for small press pitch events. So that one's probably good. Small Pitch is probably going to be the smallest one that nobody's really going to... I mean, I say nobody, but, Blue Sky has a lot of indie authors, so most likely they'll hop on that. But, oh. There is a note here. It says, completed manuscripts in any genre from marginalized writers only. So, that's going to be in... that does kind of narrow things down a lot. So, Small Pitch is probably the one that's very easy to skip if you don't feel like doing it. 2025 Pit is the one if you're serious and you want to actually court agents. You Deserve Pit is going to be the next real hype event. P2P Pit on this doc is labeled as an agent editor pitch event, but looking into it, it's actually a hype event. So that's messed up, guys. But yeah, so it's basically 2 events within a week together. February, just out of curiosity, is another 5 pitch event ones, but luckily these ones are a little bit more narrow in scope. Misery Pit is on February 1st, but it's for mystery, thriller, and true crime in the querying or work in progress stages, so that narrows things down very much. I have noticed that not a lot of people, compared to... If you go into any of these pitch tags, it's wild, because you will see, fantasy novel, fantasy novel, fantasy novel, fantasy novel, occasional horror, fantasy, but it's mystery, with a little mysterious element in there, and then, 5 mystery books, and 2 kid-lit books. So it's, mostly... we know exactly what we're writing here. So Misery Pit might be a little bit smaller. Quest Pit is the next author hype event in February. That's February 12th, followed by February 14th for Q-Pit, for romance specifically. That one is the one that I'm most excited for, so that's fine. Sludge Pit is for dark, taboo, morally gray stories that are the LGBT variety, so that's hyper-specific. And then Whipsnips Pit, which is the other event that I'm really looking forward to. Then it finally fucking eases up. Either that or people haven't really claimed March or April, because after Whipsnips Pit, we are free until May. The late May, whenever Whip Pit and Sea Asian Pit come into play. So that's fun. Back to the chat. Lily says, wasn't the Post-it Note Pit or whatever this month as well? I think that is... Oh, no. I know what you're talking about. That, I think, might have been last month? Let's see, either that or it didn't. let me also consult my starter packs because I have them listed there too. There was one pitch event with like a post-it aesthetic to it, so I know what you're talking about. I feel like that was Whip It, and that was last month. And like I said, Whip It is coming back, but it's not coming back until May. Oh, and you did mention that there was, I'm an idiot. There's also that other one that literally just announced that they're doing March. Where was that? Scrolling through. Papa Pit, March, yeah. Small Pitch is also only on their website, so we probably won't see a ton of activity about it on Blue Sky. So that's interesting. Yeah, I don't know how to feel about that. On the one hand, like, it is nice to have everything in one place. Especially since everybody's like shifting all over the place. Everybody's exodusing from Shitter, and people are like kind of sort of on Threads, but I feel like people are like, I want to get off of Threads as well recently. So like there's Threads, there's Insta, which I know would be kind of the same as Threads, but not really. There's Twitter, there's Blue Sky, God knows what else. Nobody's on fucking Tumblr, at least. Or at least the self-pub people are on Tumblr, but like, nobody actually does proper pitch events on Tumblr. So there's that. But it is a lot all at once, and if you want to get the full experience, for some of these pitch events, like you're doing cross-posting, which is absolutely terrible. Don't do that. But it is nice to have somebody be like, yeah, we have our own website. You go to the website and you do it over there. But on the other hand, it's sort of like, it's another thing to sign up for. Please don't. Pop-Up Pit did make an ominous post that just said March. Yeah, that they have actually, if you go onto their full account, there is another post right underneath that says, we can't wait to spend our next event with you. We are definitely feeling very, very lucky. Eyes emoji, shamrock emoji. So it's literally an announcement that says March. We don't know when yet. Like, we don't know what day in March. I'd imagine that we'll find that out. Surprise! In the coming weeks. It is still mid-January, and I keep on realizing that. It feels like this month has actually been 2 months, and it's only going to get longer, I swear to God. But in any case, I'd imagine that Pop-Up Pit will make a proper announcement soon. But yeah, that is everything. Those are all the events that are coming up in Blue Sky, and like I said, there are also nano-style events. Specifically Start Off Right, which again, I should be a part of. I am one of their mods on their Discord, and I do actually skim through posts, but like, I just cannot find the time and or the energy. Like, I have other things to do. You know, I've got wrapping up this beast of a draft. I've got work. I've got real life shenanigans. I've got FC stuff. Hello, FC. But yeah, it's like there's that, and there's January. And I think there are the usual other writing events, like somebody's doing a pretend panel, the hashtag. So you will, if you're a writer on Blue Sky, in other words, you will never be bored. But it is a lot, and first off, nobody is actually encouraging people to do everything. So like, ignore me when I complain, but at the same time, I'm like, I cannot wait until like March when there's only just the one thing that's we're all expecting, because like after this month, all of the nano events, like they dry up. It's like everybody was like, well, NaNoWriMo now sucks. It's controversial. Nobody wants to do it. And Nano org is shit. So we're going to create our own event. And then like 20 people decided to do that simultaneously. And they all claimed the entirety of winter. So like you have October events, you have November events, you have December events, you have January events. And then finally everybody eases up on February. Lily Lockwood says, I have completely fallen off the wagon of working on my work in progress for starting up right. I haven't even started working on the things that I said that I would be working on. Like, the Nameless song is still has my soul. But luckily, as I've mentioned on B-Sky for Week at Night Raiders, which I am apparently not wrapping up, I started doing it, and then it suddenly was 8 o'clock. But, like I said, I'm just like 2 chapters away from actually wrapping up this draft, and then it's like going back and doing some cuts. I'm at 131k, which is not great, but it's better than 170, I guess. But the beta call has gone up, and I have a hard deadline of January 29th to finish everything. Well, actually, technically January 28th, because everything has to be up on Google Docs and organized for the betas when I ship this off to the betas on January 29th. So it's going to be a crunch, but there's a light at the end of the tunnel. But the point is, I said when I decided to join Starting Off Right that I would be either working on the Nameless Song's sequel or pulling in another work in progress off the back burner. Neither of those things have happened because I've just been so fucking busy. But, you know, it is what it is, I guess. I will survive a month, and so will you, and we will all just like frolic in the easy going pastures of February, unless we decide to murder ourselves on all 5 pitch events somehow. But anyway, so that is how everything's going on Blue Sky, I guess. Everything is happening all at once. We've done the icebreaker so far. We've kind of sort of caught up, unless people would like to tell me how they're doing. I've alluded to the plan for tonight. I should probably talk more about the plan for tonight. But basically, I'm doing an entire rewrite of one of the chapters, like from the ground up, because one of the alphas just said basically it didn't work at all. So I will be, so there will for sure be the writing sprints, and those writing sprints will be fairly silent because I'm writing. First 2 will be that, at least if I'm still working on the scene, and the third, it will continue to be silent. If I'm not working on the scene, you will get to hear me read out the final chapter, which is great because it has one of my favorite scenes in it that I've been going about back and forth about cutting. It's hilarious and full of Ruben, who is my son. He has also changed a lot in this draft, so like I'm a little bit worried. He's not as funny as he was in draft 3, but I will put him to the betas and see what happens. But in any case, it is 8:25, so this is the time whenever we customarily talk about your projects as well, so let us know in the chat what you're working on. Companion Wolf says, okay, back, had to greet parents and make mom tea. That is totally a-okay. You have not missed much. I was just going over the entire social schedule of the writing community over on B-Sky. if you're not super duper into like writing events, especially of the social media nature, it's not really anything earth-shattering, to be honest with you. But let's see. Lily Lockwood says, I'm doing okay, placebo affecting myself into thinking everything is fine by taking vitamin D. I reserved a slot with my editor, so I now have a hard deadline to finish Ed's Unbroken Bells. Oof. First off, that vitamin D thing is definitely a mood. Like, what is sunlight? Is everything fine? Yes, everything is fine. We are going to pretend that everything is fine and that nothing is happening this weekend and we don't have to worry about the future of this country or anything else in it. Good luck with the edits and sitting down with your editor, and also like just sticking to the hard deadlines. Like, I applaud anybody who can do that, says the person who is actually an editor and lives by hard deadlines professionally. Lily Lockwood says, so I gotta kick my ass into gear and try to have betas read it before May. I'm sure that I think you can do it. That's a nice hefty chunk of time, to be honest with you. So, I believe in you. Get those edits done. And I am looking forward to seeing the beta call for yours as well. Or however I should actually pose this question at some point, like as an icebreaker, but like, what's people's methods for finding beta readers these days? Like, I did mine the old school fandom way, wherein I put up a Google form and send it out to the social medias and then pray to God. But like, do people have... I've been reading like people going on Facebook and Reddit and stuff like that for their betas, and I'm like, how are you that brave? Companion says, on the general front, doing okay. Got a good freelance reporter gig with a local paper. First assignment is event coverage this weekend. Nervous, but also yay, I get to do my degree. Does it pay good? No heart. But it doesn't pay good. No heart. But it's about that resume building, I guess. That is what it's about, to be honest with you. And, you know, it's also good experience, like, not in the job sense, but more like the life and actual career kind of thing. Like, I feel like jobs and whatnot are like, good experience means like you did it and you can put it on your resume, but it's actually supposed to be like you did a thing, you have literally experienced it, so now you know what it's like. So like being able to go out there and be a field reporter is really cool because you are able to experience firsthand what it's like to actually be on the job that you chose. And I believe in you. That does sound nerve-wracking, though, so I also applaud you. It's why I didn't go into journalism myself. Because talking to people. But at the same time, you are going to an event, and you get to ask people cool questions, and have fun. And actually, like, that is one part of, like, I know, like, I'm talking and we're getting dangerously close to first run time, but, like, the number one thing that I miss about my very first job was that they would send the publisher, the president of the company, would send all of the editors out to like book conventions, like industry book conventions, and you got to go there and see what all the publishers were doing. And it's like, it was so cool to be able to do that because you got to walk the floor, you got to meet people. For my very first event, I was actually sitting down with an Italian publisher negotiating, like going through their catalog and picking out things that I wanted to take back to my publisher and pitch as potential translatable books. And it was just like, I felt fun and professional at that point, and it was great. And then COVID happened, and we weren't allowed to do that anymore. And also, I think the convention that he kept on sending us to doesn't exist anymore. It was Book Expo, Book Expo America. So like, BookCon still exists, the fandom attachment to it, but I don't think that the actual industry thing exists, which is sad. Anyway, the point is, if any experience that you have going out and actually doing your job outside of a cubicle is incredible, and I wholeheartedly stand behind you taking full advantage of that, Companion Wolf. Lily says, I have 2 people who have already agreed to beta read for me in exchange for reading their stuff, and I'll probably post something on Blue Sky similar to you to pick up 1 to 2 more. That is a good idea, because right now my forum has only gotten 6, so I feel like if you're hoping for a low number, that's a good method to try. Like, it's a terrible method otherwise, I think it might be, but if you're just looking for a small number of beta readers, I recommend it. But definitely go with whatever, like, definitely experiment around, and I wish you the best of luck on finding that 1 or 2. Pause on the keyboard says, it should be fine. Event coverage is not awful. It's an interesting presentation about crows. Event is at a bird conservatory. Oh, that is so cool. Not only do you get to go to the event, but you also get to hang out with birds. I'm a little bit envious. Does New York even have an aviary? I have to look that up. Excuse me. Anyway, Lily Lockwood says, I'm also forcing my partner to read it, lol. I tried it out Critique Circle a while ago, but my ego is far too fragile for that site. They hurted my feelings. And now I'm Googling what that is. Oh, interesting. How had I never heard of this before? I also feel like this would be a stock. I recognize that stock image, but yeah, I feel like this is setting you up to be ripped apart. So I also cannot blame you for not wanting to continue. It's just like, when you have a community that's specifically for critiquing, that's what they do. It is less workshopping and more ripping things apart, and it's sad, but at least that's in my experience. So I'm a little bit afraid of actually trying it myself, especially after your comment, and especially after the one that you just sent that says, it's good if you want a lot of feedback, but people on there are brutal. Okay, definitely not gonna try this then. No thanks. Companion Wolf says, crows are cool. Hell yeah, crows are cool. In any case, it's currently 8:33. We should probably get started on that first writing sprint. So if you're not on your docs, feel free to get to your docs. And as per usual, shake out your wrists, take a deep breath, flex your fingers. I'm trying to crack mine. Yeah, and feel free to drop into the chat what you'll be doing today. Like Lily, I think you mentioned that, what did you mention actually? Let me see. Oh, okay, you had mentioned the work in progress for starting off right, but not really necessarily what you were working on tonight. But feel free to drop in what you're working on in the chat. Same thing with you, Companion Wolf. I know that you have a wide variety of things that you like to do. So, you know. But if you are keeping it mum, that is a-okay too. You have 1 minute to go before we get started. Lily says, editing, rewriting, combining a few chapters in Songs of Broken Bells tonight. Ooh. Yes. Combine those chapters. Edit them down. Tighten those words. Yeah, I might say that because that's... Yeah, I don't know, like, it feels so cathartic to combine chapters and be like, I didn't need all those words. Companion says friendship bracelets because I couldn't decide on a writing project. That is valid. On that note, it is 8:35, so grab your friendship strings and grab your dots because we are starting. 20 minutes on the clock. Get ready. Shake out the wrists. Get set. And here we go. Alright, that is the first of 3 sprints done. 15 minutes on the clock, and how do we do? 417 on my end, which is not bad, considering the fact that I have no idea what I'm doing right now. Lily Lockwood had posted during the sprint. They said, I'm a chronic underwriter, so I'm actually trying to add stuff, haha, but I'm switching to third-person omniscient POV, perhaps ill-advised, so it makes sense to combine the chapters a bit. That's right, I think you mentioned that the last time that we met up. That is a lot, but at the very least, you said that you're a chronic underwriter, so you've given yourself enough room to build up what you need to build up in order to make that POV switch. So I'm wishing you the best of luck with the rest of what you're doing, for sure. How did everybody else do? Lily says 352 words on my end. Excellent, excellent. Companion Wolf, I assume that you have made bracelets. It's all chill, it's all chill. Okay, so we all know that I've written a 90s AU before I started in on this draft, but like I'm consulting it to give me some direction in where I want to take this, because in a lot of ways the 90s AU mirrors what happens in the first book. But the downside is the 90s AU was somehow better written. So it's like I'm reading through my own writing from literally last year. I'm like, wow, what I'm writing now is juvenile in comparison, but we'll see how it works. So that's the thing. Other than that, chugging along. I feel like it's hopefully going to be shorter than the other one. So the other chapter was 1235, which is kind of chunky. For one scene wonder at least. Well, actually no, it's kind of short for one scene wonder in my book. But there's only a few things I want to do in the scene, so if we're at 430 some, hopefully roughly in that tiny little narrow gap, I don't know. Lily says, no, I'm sure it's great, you're just too close to it. Hopefully. Fingers crossed. We will see how the Betties take it. Ari, oh, hey! Reynos has come in. Hey y'all, Reynos here on late. That is totally a-okay. It is probably butt o'clock where you are, but welcome. You have just caught us in the break between Sprint 1 and Sprint 2. Very likely Sprint, so I can speak. So the plan is tonight, I have only like a very short chapter to write. Very likely, all 3 sprints will be silent. The third one, if I end up finishing up in this upcoming sprint, you might actually hear some words being read. We'll see how this goes. Reyna says, a mint to 10 a.m. Finally got up to have breakfast. That's fair. That is still butt o'clock in my opinion. Everything before 11 a.m. is butt o'clock, which is a terrible habit to have. Because, eventually I'm going to end up with a job that puts me back in the office. And I say that not because I've heard good news about this job, I have not yet, but instead because most jobs these days are hybrid. So like saying that anything before 11 a.m. is butt o'clock is a terrible habit to have if you're a 9-to-5 cubicle dweller. It's not so much a terrible habit when you're working from home, because you roll out of bed at 9 a.m., you make your coffee and read emails, quote unquote, plod along in your pajamas on easy work, and the music cut out. Interesting. Oh, hold on just a sec. Okay. Music is back in, hopefully. Anyway, yeah, you're still in your pajamas until like 2 in the afternoon, but you've had your coffee by around noonish, so you're actually a living human being. But before then, you're like doing the easy work, answering emails, taking it slow with projects. You don't really build up steam, or at least that's me. Anyway, I hope breakfast was excellent for you, in other words. And speaking of work, this weekend is apparently a 3-day weekend. I don't know why. In fact, I've completely forgotten that we do have the day off on Monday. So we'll see how that goes. I'm a little bit excited because, January 20th is technically a holiday, but like in the United States, I don't know if you realize this, but not everybody takes that day off. I can't remember if this company is one of them, or if they just decided to randomly have a day off. But in any case, I'm grateful for it. I'm going to be spending most of it. Well, I have some real life stuff that I have to untangle over the weekend. Hopefully I'll get that done on Saturday, and then the rest of the weekend I'm just going to basically power through the remaining of Lily Lockwood says MLK Day. Yes, but not every company takes that off. A lot of them do nowadays, yes, but I have also been in situations where that was just another day, or it might have been a half day. Every company does things differently, so there's that. But in any case, I plan on hopefully pounding through the rest of the edits, and then I'll be able to start exporting and putting things up on Google Docs and writing up instructions and stuff like that. But it's just so weird to finally be close to the end of this thing. Like, I've been working on this Scrivener file since the end of January, so it's like one solid year of me writing, rewriting, editing, the whole 9 yards, this one Scrivener doc. I have definitely not achieved the goal that I had set out to tackle, which was to get a query-worthy manuscript within a year. But it's like, this is it. Like, the next step is the betas, and then after that, it's actually putting together a query package and seeing what happens. And it's kind of surreal to be at that step. Because, like, I've been thinking about it and wanting it since forever, and we're almost finally there. Reno says, congrats on job and beta. Don't congrats on job yet, because there's no news on that front. In fact, I probably should not be even talking about it all that often. Not because anybody would actually look at my socials, but more because, don't jinx it. But, in general, I'm still on a job hunt. Because what I'm doing right now is not what I want to do with my life. And it is very much the kind of job that doesn't really let you have any personal time. And it rides you hard. Like, I had gotten reprimanded earlier this week for taking too much PTO. Well, not reprimanded, but very gently told that in the future don't take this much PTO. It's like, bitch, that's PTO. Like, I'm going to take this much PTO in the middle of the year, and you guys can just do whatever. But, yeah, it's why I'm trying to get myself out of the situation. Like, I took the job because I was desperate, because it was well into a year after I had gotten laid off. I needed something, but it doesn't pay enough, and it runs you ragged. And honestly, the fewer things I have left over from the time that I was living with certain people, the better. So, like, I am very eager for just a fresh start in general, you know? Like, maybe going someplace new, definitely getting another job. I've already gotten the haircut bit, but, like, just reinventing. Like, I always do this whenever I have a really bad breakup. I just go full on Phoenix and then see what happens. But, last time it was a crash and burn immediately after, so that was fun. And come to think of it, the time before that too, but at least the time before that I was still in college, so like, it didn't matter. I had basically free room and board and distractions, and I was in my early 20s, so booze as well. But, yeah, things are kind of like still hanging in there, but like, it's hard, especially when, I need to stop listening to indie rock, because, like, every single song on my playlist right now is, like, like, that one song, I Will Carry You Home, whether it's, tonight or 50 years, or 50 years from now or something like that. And it's like, for some people there is a lasting commitment, and for other people you just don't get that lucky, you know. And I guess it's therapy night, but in any case, the point is, you hang in there and you keep on doing you, and you find where your groove is, and you keep on going. And that is something that I'm excited to do, to be honest with you, going into this new year. I'm excited to do new opportunities, and like, I'm looking for different ways that I can do new opportunities, like pursuing this project to the end of the line, finding new work opportunities, redoing my wardrobe, like any kind of newness, and it sort of picks you back up because you're like revitalizing yourself, you know what I mean? But in any case, Lily says, I'll be cheering you on while you query. I hear the trenches are tough. They are. I have not been in them myself. I have seen plenty of other people, and I've heard many a talk, and it's like, it is a little bit discouraging, because you also have like agents who are like, I will auto reject if your manuscript doesn't fit this very tiny, narrow little box. And like, on the one hand, I get it, because like, agents are people, they have finite amounts of time, and just looking at the pitch events, you can see why they're very picky, because like, pitch events are like 50,000 posts of, this is my fantasy novel about messy people doing messy things again and again and again and again. And like, that's your job, to go in and try to determine why this dark-ish thriller, horror, fantasy novel about messy people in this tiny rural town, and all the secrets therein, is so much better and different than this novel about messy people in this tiny little town, and it's a fantasy, dark, what have you. It's rough from their perspective. I get it. But, you know, it's difficult, and it's going to be a lot of rejection. Like, I fully believe that I will not hear interest within the first year. Like, that's rare. But, it's all about managing your expectations and being diligent and sending out those query packages until you decide that you've had enough and would like to do self-publishing instead, which is its own trench and is something that I am not looking forward to considering. Raina says, gotcha, cheering you on that you can make the changes you want. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Lily says, if they give you PTO, you get to take PTO. What the fuck? Right? Especially if the person who's doing the not reprimanding was the one who encouraged me to do it in the first place. I'm a little bit angry and a lot demoralized. And that's why it's difficult to go drag myself in every day. Like, granted, I don't envy anybody else's job. Like, I definitely know people who have it worse and rougher, but like, every single day I have to drag myself out of bed and tell myself, we're doing this again. You don't really have a choice, you're doing it again. So that's what existence is like. But we'll get through it, and either way, the pay is good, I guess. So that was a load of depression right there, and I apologize for anybody who had to suffer through that. But the point is, life is fun, and life, on a positive note, like, I don't know, like, I don't like saying life sucks, because it's a very glass half empty mentality, and personally, I feel like glass half empty is not productive. The more that you say everything sucks, the world is on fire, nothing is going to be good, the more you're inclined to sink down into yourself. I've definitely known a lot of people who have done that instead of anything to help their own situation. I've also known people who would do that to other people, and the point wasn't that they needed to vent. The point was to have somebody come in and hug them, essentially. And I don't want to be that person, and I don't encourage people to be that person. And if you find yourself being that person, I really hope that you take a good long look at yourself and really think about, what you're doing, who's helping, and so on and so forth. In my opinion, life is hard. That is an objective fact. Actually, that's not even my opinion. Things do suck, but at the same time, part of the point is to find the little bits that keep you going, and the little bits that make, the whole point of it. It's the little bits that draw you out of your shell, out of your funk, that push you forward. That's what life is. I sigh because it's a gaming quote that I'm thinking of right now, and we all know everything about Neil Gaiman. We know more about Neil Gaiman than we ever wanted to know about Neil Gaiman, and if I didn't have to hear that fucker's name ever again, it would be too soon. But the reason why I love Death the Time of Your Life so much, the reason why that comic is so goddamn important to me, is because there's this one quote in the middle of it. It's when one of the main characters, Hazel, and if you don't know too much about Death the Time of Your Life, it's, as much as I don't want to recommend Gaiman, I highly recommend actually seeking this comic out and reading it because it's beautiful, both art in terms of visual art, but also philosophy. But it's about this mother, Hazel, whose child dies, and she makes a deal with death. She bargains away her own life for a little bit more time with her son. And she tells Death that she, Death, because Death is a goth girl in this one, Death can come back later, and when she does, she can take either herself, Hazel, or her partner, Foxglove. So Foxglove is busy with her career that entire time and grows further and further away from Hazel and her son. And at the end of a couple of years, Death comes back and Fox is nowhere to be found, so Hazel decides to go to the land of Death, where they will wait for Fox, and then they will make a decision about who gets to stay with Death. So in the middle of all of this, Hazel is with Death, and Death, and Hazel finally asks the question, and it's the question everybody asks at one point or another. It's, what is the point of everything? Why do bad things happen to good people? That kind of thing. I don't remember the exact shape of that question. And I will have to paraphrase this as well, because I am absolute shit about remembering exact quotes, and I don't feel like actually digging the comic out. But Death says that life isn't good or bad, it's both. She says specifically that if we never have the bad times, how will we know when we have the good? And it's all of these moments together that make up what life is actually about. So, the point is, that's, in my opinion, the entire meaning of life. It's not suffering through the bad things. It's not experiencing only the good. It is experiencing both at once. It's everything. The good, the bad, I'm getting a little bit teary, I'm sorry. But it's... Things get hard. But you go through them. And you learn to appreciate the good more, because you've been through the bad. So, in my opinion, you need the bad things, and life is hard, for sure. But that's what makes the better days better, Anyway. Lily Lockwood says, no need to apologize, we're all going through it. Life doesn't necessarily suck, but sure is rough lately. That is very true. God, when I was in Pittsburgh, my dad would not shut up about one thing. He would keep on going about, because my dad's always been a Democrat. And Pittsburgh, if you don't know, is extremely MAGA. So he's surrounded by all these morons, conspiracy theorists, people who aren't educated. And it gets to him, and he says, you, meaning all of you, and that part is a direct quote, because he would have to be hyper specific, because he just preaches essentially to the choir constantly. He said, you have no idea what you're in for, essentially. And it's no shit. Life is hard. As I keep saying, people don't make it easier for themselves. we're all going through it, and it's going to get rougher, and we're all aware too, except for the extreme delusionals. But, you know, what can you do other than take care of yourself and keep on going? But yeah, it sure is rough lately, as Lily says. That is definitely an understatement. Companion says, messed up the bracelets, trying to face it, beyond fixing, I mean. Oh, phew. Like, did you cut them? Or did you cut them weird or something like that? Because, like, on the other hand, like, for sure, it's also a good idea in general to set projects aside when you know you fucked up and then come back to them later, because all of a sudden, whenever you take a look at something that you fucked up, you're like, wait a second, it's not as fucked up as I thought it was. So hopefully that happens with your bracelets. Companion Wolf also says, oh well, I will write something, maybe work on my twine game during the next sprint, I mean. Which, incidentally, is coming up soon. I am so sorry for rambling all that much. Reina says, I always loved the visual of the fox wearing the foxglove flowers. The story is quite complicated. Agreed. Like, that page is so cute and so pretty. Like, the fox perched on the bunch of flowers. It almost kind of feels like she's radiating pride, like she has taken her identity and built it. And even though, like, at that point in the story, like, she has been beaten down, she feels stripped, like, out of it, like, she doesn't have any control of her life. It's like, at that one moment, whenever she thinks about how she built her identity, it's finally like, this is me, this is who I am, I am proud of this. But at the same time, like, God, Fox was such a mess in that comic. Like, granted, I don't know, like, she's definitely not the best character, but I definitely appreciate how much of a mess that she was, because, like, the comic would not have been anything without that journey and that self-reflection and the understanding of what's important in life and so on and so forth. So, in other words, like, God, like, I have to admit, Gaiman is to me like Rowling is to also me. Like, at one point, Gaiman had been a foundational part of my formative years. Like, I had read him voraciously, but looking back on it, it's like, like, even Good Omens, it was more, the bits that you probably love in Good Omens are probably Terry Pratchett, to be honest with you. If you read Gaiman's work on its own, like, his comics are fantastic, but, like, his books are, you're okay, I guess? But at the same time, that comic is just, literally one of the best things I've ever read. And it's a fucking Gaiman work. But then again, as the Vulture article has illuminated, Gaiman has had a talent for being a massive fucking hypocrite in his writing. So, like, figures, you know what I mean? Or, like, what can you say? Emmanuel says the knots they knotted too gnarly. Oh, still, I hope that you're able to, like, smooth that out later. Companion says, but I will look at it again later. Yeah, I highly encourage that. Do that. I'm sure that you'll be able to untangle it for sure. Lily Lockwood says, I have a similar relationship with she who shall not be named. Oh, we can definitely name that bitch. J.K. Rowling, the TERF who funds, who has backed political movements to get people killed. That one? That J.K. Rowling? Yeah, sure. Okay. But yes. I still envy J.K. Rowling's ability to market the shit out of her work. Like, say what you want. Like, I'm not even going to touch, well, I will touch the books in a moment, but, like, you can believe, you can be like diehard, the books are the best things ever read, ever written, or the books are absolute shite, critically speaking. It doesn't matter. We can all agree that she is a fucking goddess at marketing. Like, that girl has figured out how to write a book that can be sold in fucking plushie form. There are costumes, there are butterbeer Starbucks drinks, Starbucks style drinks in stores dedicated to her that's full of fucking merch. I was in that store, by the way. It's crowded as hell, but also if you go into the bottom floor, they have expensive ass jewelry. And it's like, name me one author who has been able to sell her property that successfully. Like, can we all figure out what the fuck her secret was? Because that is the goddamn dream. Anyway, the books themselves, they're children's books. I will say it bluntly, like, and they're still kind of enjoyable as children's books if you don't think too much about them. They are a product of their time too. They are definitely, you can tell that they were late 90s children's books, especially the first few. But it's like, in a way, yeah. It's also kind of like a well-crafted series in the sense that the first few books are cute little fantasy middle grades, and they read like cute little fantasy middle grades, and then they evolve into dark fantasy YA that are basically proto-Twilight. So like, she knew her audience. I hate to sing praises, but goddamn, like, this is fucking skill. And I'm envious, and of course it had to be with somebody who got fucking twisted around. Anyway. Raina says, I actually have to actively tell my friends to stop buying Harry Potter merch for me. They don't understand because we bonded over the story. Ouch. Luckily, I'm not in the same boat. I still have a lot of friends who are into Harry Potter, and I respect that, so long as they don't get into turfiness. One high school friend was like a super turf and also a Harry Potter nerd, but like they got blocked. But other than that, like, I know so many people who are into Harry Potter, so like that's how I keep on getting dragged back into that store. Like, ex-boyfriend knew people who were into Harry Potter, so he would go in there to buy them merch, and that's how I wound up in the store. One of the people in the old writing group, which I have not yet touched this year and probably will actually retire, is a non-binary person who is into Harry Potter. I'm like, that doesn't compute, but okay, I guess we're in the store again. It's like, I don't know how this happens. Like, I just meet writers and we end up in the fucking Harry Potter store somehow. But, that's how it is. Personally, like, I appreciate that they were part of my life at one point. I fell out of love with them around the fourth book, when the fourth book actually got published, and I read up to the halfway through about the seventh book because I felt like I had to finish the series, and then just didn't finish the series. But to me, they were okay. I don't know what else to say. When I was a little wee teenager, I was reading fanfiction and I was more interested in fanfiction than I was the actual Harry Potter books or anything published. And that didn't quite change until, like, the Hunger Games came out, so, like, But, like I said, I still, like, I'm not into them, but if you're into them, I'm like, I'm not gonna beef with you unless you're actually actively a TERF. Just because at the end of the day, I know so many people who are Harry Potter nerds, and I'm like, I can't really I can't dictate what you do or don't like. I can't really, I don't want to preach about trans rights to you. Just live your life and don't bother trans people, please. Lily says, yeah, my mom kept buying me HP stuff because I was so obsessed with it as a kid and I had to tell her to stop. Right, so the point is, I luckily do not have that problem. Most people do not buy me Harry Potter merch. They just buy me Van Gogh merch. I'm like, yes, please, please give me the depressed impressionist painter that I like to look at. Whose paintings that I like to look at. Also, that I like to look at because some of those self-portraits are fucking amazing. Like, if I could have, like, one of those self-portraits and just sort of, like, hang it on my wall so that I can stare at it because it's pretty, that would be awesome. But anyway, that's apparently the key to my heart. That and cats. So people buy me Van Gogh and cats, and that's fine. Neither of those things are problematic. Okay, cats are a little bit problematic, but you get the point. Reno says, I knew that me and the author were not on the same page when she said Prisoner of Azkaban was her least favorite book and everything else after were dictionaries. Yeah, I'm not on the same page with her either because Prisoner of Azkaban was her best book. Like, the first book was good, second book was shit, third book was the best, and then fourth book shit, fifth book okay, probably the third best, then sixth and seventh, eh. Lily says, my cats are problematic, haha. Yeah, that's it. Cats be like that, for sure. Anyway, I have been stalling for way too long. How long ago was, like, the last sprint? Because that's fully my bad. We should gear up for the next sprint, especially since it's, like, past 9:30 and Reynos hasn't even done one yet. So, here we go. Get back to your docs if you haven't already. Just sort of, like, shake things out. Flex those fingers. And feel free to toss, like, your last words because we'll be starting at 9:35. On that note, cats are hella problematic. They are like, I am so cute, but I am also going to destroy everything you love. Like, I am going to eat your human food, I'm going to claw your couches, and I'm going to knock everything off of every solid surface, and I'm going to curl up in your lap and prevent you from doing work, and you can't do a goddamn thing about it because I'm cute. I want so badly. Anyway, it is 9:34, so we have 20 minutes on the clock. Reynos, also, what are you working on right now? Because we haven't been able to talk about or address your project today. We already know. Everybody else had already mentioned what they're working on, including Companion Wolves, bracelets, and Twine Game. So hopefully the Twine Game goes a little bit better than the bracelets Companion Wolf. Otherwise, anyway, 20 minutes on the clock. I will see you on the other side. Best of luck to all of you. Get ready, get set, and here we go. Rena says, work email, but my work in progress is about a girl whose AI assistant glitches and she thinks it's a magical girl mascot now. Ah, so you're working on the AI whip. Hopefully you've gotten to a good part since we talked about that. But in any case, we'll talk about it afterwards. Wishing you the best of luck getting back into it or addressing that work email. is the second sprint over and done with. 15 minutes on the clock. How did we do? Let's see, I think I started... There it is. 478 words, that's not bad at all. Getting there. Probably the last sprint I'll be able to finish this up. Alright, read the chat. But how did we do? Daniel says pause on the keyboard, 578, which is not bad for you. Lily Lockwood says 369, also excellent. Lily says, feeling kind of iffy about this part of the chapter. I'm not sure if it actually accomplishes anything, but it has some nice characterization, I think, so I'll leave it for now. So in other words, it has accomplished something, and that is nice characterization. I feel like, if it adds... I don't know, like, I know that there's advice out there that's like, everything has to advance the plot somehow. But in my opinion, it's very easy to mistake that for, or to take it very literally and say everything has to advance the plot. More accurately, it's better to think of it as if it adds something to the story, it should be kept in. So like that something can be anything. It can be, as Raina says, characterization is plot, in my honest opinion. For sure, like, but also, like, if it doesn't take you closer to the end of, like, the actual like, your actual endpoint, that's totally okay, too, because, like, sometimes the important thing that you're adding to the story is, like, a better understanding of the characters, the world, and so on and so forth. Those are vital pieces, even if they aren't actually a stepping stone on the actual plot thread. Like, you can be like, or you know how like plot threads can sometimes strictly be seen as, and then this happened, and this happened, and then this happened, so on and so forth, until you get from the beginning of the story to the end. You can definitely have like little fragments that break off of that, and they're basically like downtime chapters, or they feel like downtime chapters. But what you're doing there is you're adding some kind of understanding to make the actual plot make sense. So if it does that, then the next question is, does the story make sense, and does it feel as strong without it? If the answer is no, keep it in. If the answer is yeah, it doesn't really fit, then either you can make it fit, if you do a little bit of tweaking, and that's definitely a thing that you can absolutely do, or you can go ahead and trim it off. Like, but I would advise like trimming it off only if you like hit the maximum word count, right? So like, if you've been told that you need to trim it off, or if you're like, I went way over budget for the words, which is my problem, then just flag it and be like, okay, I'm going to revisit this and see if my story makes just as much sense and is just as strong without this bit. So otherwise, keep everything in. What the worst that can happen is you have this weird downtime bit, and it might be a breather for some people, considering the action of everything else. Or it might make the actual story beat that happens afterwards all that stronger, because like it's that oomph of actual action and plot happening. Worst case scenarios, somebody's going to point it out and be like, what the fuck is this? But that's your editor's job anyway, so like don't worry too much about it. Just worry about whether or not it makes sense, essentially. Like, if it is consistent with your characters, it's enjoyable to read, and narrative, and just sort of like makes sense in terms of timeline, right? Like, your characters shouldn't be going off to 7-Eleven between two fight scenes as if nothing has ever happened, that kind of thing. Like, you want to avoid that. But other than that, like, if it fits narratively with the rest of the story, then keep it in. That's my advice. Lily says, yes, leave my issues for my editor. Good idea, huh? That's what you're paying, or, I mean, I shouldn't say that's what you're paying them to do. That's what somebody's paying them to do. So, I wouldn't worry too much about it. Lily Lockwood says, Fantasy 7-Eleven right across from Fantasy Costco. It is not across the street from Fantasy Costco. It is down the street. Excuse you. No, I'm kidding. Companion Wolf says, Fantasy 7-Eleven. Yep. It is the Circle K where something strange is afoot at. Such a good movie, by the way. If you've never watched Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, please do. Like, Bogus Journey is your mileage may vary. It's very much an early 90s film, but like, Excellent Adventure is just fantastic. Companion Wolf says, my prose for Twine Game is over 1,000 words now, which is exciting. I am very excited for you. Okay, I have to say this because, like, I decided we had during our last break established the fact that I cannot remember quotes worth shit unless they're right in front of me. So I decided to look up the quote that I was trying to quote from Excellent Adventures. And incidentally, I misquoted it. It's strange things, not something strange. It's strange things are afoot at the Circle K. That having been said, there is a Quora article that's titled "Why Are Strange Things Afoot at the Circle K?" I thought it was like a funny haha troll thing, but in actuality, somebody actually wrote this long article about what happened to the Circle K, and it's actually fascinating because I hadn't even thought about it. Like, yeah, Circle K used to be a thing in the United States, and all of a sudden you don't hear about them anymore. Same thing with Unimart, which apparently still exists in the boonies, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, my family had driven me back to New Jersey, and we traveled through the rural Pennsylvania, and that was the first time in like 20 years that I've seen a fucking Unimart. But in any case, the strange things afoot at the Circle K. I almost want to actually read this article, but apparently, without at least my consciousness of it, Circle K was basically taken out first off by a hyper version of, you know how like CVS and Walgreens these days are locking their shit up behind glass cabinets, or at least they are here, and we're all making fun of New York City for putting all the goddamn deodorant in a glass case. So apparently, back in the day, shoplifting was an actual thing, and that killed part of it. Like, they went from 24/7 to not 24/7. And there's also a mention of unhoused people, kind of like also not contributing to its growth, and that's kind of iffy, but I guess objectively I can see that claim. But ultimately what really killed it off after that were 24/7 Walmarts and Kmarts. Kmarts is fascinating because that doesn't exist anymore. That for sure fucked up and ate shit and does not exist anymore. But like, I don't know, like, I think this is fascinating. Like, the slow Ouroboros that capitalism has done unto itself. Like, 7-Elevens used to be, well, 7-Eleven still exists, but it's shittier than in Asia, and it's definitely shittier than it was in the 90s. But Circle K, Unimarts, whatnot, had gotten eaten up by Walmarts and Kmarts, which were in turn eaten up by Amazon, which is now being eaten up by God knows itself, essentially. So it's just fascinating to watch. Companion Wolf says that sounds like a fun story to be working on in seriousness. The Circle K. Lily Lockwood says, surprising there's a decent amount of Circle K's in Michigan. I've never run into one here, though. Oh, they're like all in Detroit, that's why. So I guess Circle K is still a thing. Is Circle K still anywhere else? Okay, literally, this is the least helpful thing. Like, I went on the Circle K website. First off, it is so bare bones corporate, like no branding whatsoever. So this is like unnerving. And second off, it displays a map with a handful of cities on it, but no actual listings of locations. That is so weird. Apparently they might exist. Oh, they don't exist in either Nebraska or Utah, just randomly. So that's fascinating. I really wonder why. Like, this is a fucking rabbit hole. Why don't they exist in Utah or Nebraska? I am curious, who drove them out of goddamn Nebraska? Anyway, I go on to like the Wikipedia page. I'm scrolling to find a listing of current locations, and I don't find one immediately, but I do find an entire paragraph long section that's titled wage violations. It's like attempting to look into Circle K history is just one slap in the face after another. I'm just fascinated by this. And sponsorship. In May 2017, a sponsored Circle K Power Cube was introduced into the online game Ingress, which Ingress mentioned, but also it's not called a Circle K Power Cube anymore. So this is fucking hilarious. It's just like, it keeps going. You keep on trying to find one answer and you just have 50 more questions. Like, who fucking drove them out of Nebraska? Lily Lockwood says there's a smattering of them in Ohio. It seems like most states have one city that has a bunch of them, and then they go else in that state. Pretty much, right? Like, pretty much. Like, I don't even want to look at this, to be honest. I don't even want to find an actual listing, because I feel like that's literally just it. Oh, goodness. Literally, where is it now? Like, I'm finding information about their parent company, and apparently they're buying all the geckos from Giant Eagle in Pittsburgh, which, cool. So, fascinating. I don't know where this is going. Let me go look at Unimart instead. Oh, Unimart didn't exist outside of the Mid-Atlantic states, so I've been referencing Unimart this entire time, and you all probably have no fucking clue what I'm talking about. But Unimart was basically like a crappier 7-Eleven. It is where the teenagers went whenever they couldn't get into the liquor stores, and Sheetz didn't exist at that point. Giant Eagle sells gecko. This one's a brand new one to me. I have not heard of that. But I cannot answer what is going on in Pittsburgh. What is going on in Pittsburgh is a lot. Oh, no. If you misheard me, it's not gecko. It's get go. One word, so it's like get and go. So that is their basically their, I shouldn't say R because I don't live there anymore, but in Pittsburgh there is a supermarket chain called Giant Eagle. Giant Eagle is a huge fucking deal in Pittsburgh. Because basically everything that originates in Pittsburgh has to be a huge fucking deal to that city. Like, don't get me started on Eden Parks and UPMC. We will be here all night. But Giant Eagle has its own convenience store / gas station called Get Go. And the thing about Get Go is that it competes with Sheetz to be the hangout spots. And if you don't know what Sheetz is, here's a rundown. If you have a Wawa, I am blanking on if you have a Cumberland, if you have a Buc-ee's, if you have like any other gas station with a convenience store, you know what a Get-Go is. Get-Go is basically that, but smaller than Buc-ee's, that's for sure. I don't even remember if it actually does any... I think it... No, it does do made-to-order foods. So, like, but it's not outside of Western Pennsylvania, because it's attached to a Giant Eagle. So that is what the Circle K's mother company is buying up. It's basically Sheetz, Wawa, Cumberland Farms, I think it is, Buc-ee's, God knows what else. P.S. If your local gas station is a fucking Buc-ee's, please know that I envy you. Like, I envy you only on this because you're living in the South, so, that's tough. But I have heard crazy shit about Buc-ee's. I want to visit a Buc-ee's someday. Companion Wolf says, I have been in a Giant Eagle. It did not impress me. Yeah, it's a supermarket. It is... Even in the Pittsburgh area, we all acknowledge the fact that the local Giant Eagle is like a step below Whole Foods. Like, it wants to be a Whole Foods, but it's a Shaw's. I'm saying all these brand names of things that are regional. Shaw's is, if you don't have a Shaw's, that is, if you don't have a Shaw's, if you have an Acme, if you have a Star Market, if you have something fancier than if you have a Publix, then you know what a fucking Giant Eagle is. Buc-ee's is so funny. There's one in Kentucky. It was built like 5 years ago, I think, and they have fucking billboards for it in Wisconsin. It's crazy. Like, it's a fucking experience, I've heard. And I've only seen like videos of the interiors, but it's like, what is going on in there? Oh, I don't know if any of you have heard of Stu Leonard's, but it's kind of like, it has the same vibe as Stu Leonard's. Like, Stu Leonard's, for those who don't know, is like the IKEA of farmers market grocery stores. Like, everything inside is locally grown or made, even in-house made, everything. So, like, all of your food is locally sourced, and it's great. But it is one long path that winds backwards and forwards through this complex. There are no aisles. You are fucking going on an adventure. There are animatronics. It is insane. But it's fun. So Stu Leonard's is like Buc-ee's, but like, it has the same vibe as Buc-ee's, because like, if you've never been in a Stu Leonard's, if you've been anywhere near like the New York border onward up through the entirety of New England, you've heard of a Stu Leonard's, even if there's no Stu Leonard's for 30 miles. But I get the feeling that Buc-ee's is the same way. If you don't live anywhere near a Buc-ee's, you've fucking heard of a Buc-ee's. You fucking heard of what goes on in a Buc-ee's. Lily Lockwood says, "Oh, we have a place like that here. It's called Horrocks, and I love it. It's just insane. Like, sometimes companies just get completely unhinged with what they're doing, but it's unhinged in a benign way, not like an unhinged in an Amazon worker exploitation way. And it's fun when they do it, because, like, do you need animatronics in a grocery store? Absolutely not. And in fact, all those animatronics are dirty, ill-maintained, and quite frankly terrifying, but it's still fun. Companion Wolf says they got Dippin' Dots and Buc-ee's. We want to go to Buc-ee's so badly. Companion Wolf says, but they actually pay their employees decent. See, I like that. Like, whenever you just go balls to the wall, we're doing all the things and we're going to be fucking unhinged, but we're going to be ethical about it. I like that. I appreciate that. Thank you for doing that, Buckies. But, see, I like capitalism when it's ethical, when it treats its employees right and does stupid shit, like for making IKEA out of, like, make grocery store IKEA with Chuck E. Cheese animatronics. Like, just have fun. If we're all going to hell together over a bag of asparagus, at least make it fun. Anyway, that's my capitalism rant for the day, I guess. We're back in it. We have hit our capitalism quota, I guess. We need to get, like, I guess it's also a food quota. I don't know, like, I haven't had Dippin' Dots since I was a kid, and no, that's a lie. I've had Dippin' Dots at the Bronx Zoo. Incidentally, I will say this, just like it says, just a sidebar, while we're hitting all of the goddamn points on the checklist, New York point. If you come to New York, fuck the Central Park Zoo, fuck the Brooklyn Zoo, fuck the Queens Zoo, and Staten Island doesn't have a zoo, fuck that shit. The Bronx Zoo is where it's absolutely where it's at. Sprawling, all the animals you could want. They even do penguin feedings. It's adorable as hell. If you have to see one zoo, go to the Bronx Zoo. I only say fuck the Central Park Zoo because it's kind of smallish, and there are scammers out front who will try to take your money by any means possible. So, like, fuck the Central Park Zoo. But anyway, so yeah, we've taken care of food, we've taken care of capitalism, we've taken care of New York, and we've also done writing. So is there penguin feeding? Lily Lockwood says penguin feedings. Yes, penguin feedings. I have videos of penguin feedings, and I should really put them up somewhere. But yes, they are very adorable. Seal feedings too. No, actually, I think they're sea lion feedings. In any case, there are feedings. There are also birds, there are insects, though we didn't get to see the insect exhibit. And you know, there are peacocks just wandering around, just chilling, and it's great. Though honestly, you can't really keep a bird that with the personality of a cat in its enclosure. So I can understand why there's like there are peacocks just like strutting around doing their own thing. But in any case, that is part of the experience, and you will enjoy yourself. Just do not try to pet the peacock. Those peacocks will peck your eyes out. Companion Wolf says, feed those beasts. Yes, feed the beasts. So yeah, that is everything. It is currently 10:24. So what do we say about the final sprint of the night? So, final sprint of the night, and then we'll talk about schedule, because I do have to make a couple of changes, especially to the usual Friday night stream. But we will talk on the other side of this little chatter. So 20 minutes on the clock, wishing all of you the best of luck, and hopefully I will be able to get away from the Google search for giant eagle geckos and the Circle K Quora page to actually write. But in any case, Companion Wolf says, my goal for the final sprint, find food. Hungry. Yes, go find food. On that note, 20 minutes on the clock, good luck, and here we go. That was excellent timing. So that is the end of our third sprint. How did we do? I don't even remember where I started, so I'm not even gonna try. But it was definitely a few thousand words. And I'm getting to the end of this, at the very least. It should be like another paragraph or more. More than a paragraph, but it'll be a little bit longer. But in any case, Lily Lockwood says, you ever spell something so wrong, spell check can't even help you out? Yeah. That is why I also have Merriam-Webster open oftentimes, because weirdly enough, oftentimes spell check will fail me, but I will keyboard smash into Merriam-Webster, and Merriam-Webster will be like, did you mean this? And I'll be like, yes, that is exactly what I meant, thank you. So there's that. Companion Wolf says, pause on the, I found cereal, by the way. I found food, by the way, cereal. And cereal is an excellent food to have. I think I might have, now I kind of want foods of my own, but I don't know what I have. It's, the downside of being sick is that I hadn't had time over the weekend to go out and do food shopping and have a stockpile of snacks and whatnot. But I will remedy that this weekend. Lily Lockwood said 360. I've been very consistent today. Heck yeah. Excellent. And I hope that continues even after the end of the sprint, or after the end of the stream. Speaking of, how about I tell you about the schedule for the upcoming streams? Now, as I said, I'm going to make a little bit of a change. I don't know if it's going to be a permanent change, but the FC is doing some stuff on Fridays for now until the foreseeable future, and I kind of want to do that. So yeah, this is probably not the best reason to be like, I'm canceling stream, but the way that I see it is I do these for funsies. I also do that for funsies, and funsies is very important. Like, these streams are not vital to my career, or my brand. I appreciate that people are coming in, and I appreciate the fact that there's a consistent audience for these. I want to continue doing them, but I might do some rearranging. So Thursdays are still always going to be stream days. Like, there's not a consistent enough party schedule, essentially, to warrant me moving stream days. Fridays, however, is going to be consistently booked up. So, we are no longer going to be doing Fridays for the foreseeable future, anyway. But the other day that's going to be happening during the week will depend. So just to go back over the schedule, Mondays and Wednesdays are always going to be no-goes because those are my rating days. Every other Tuesday is going to be a no-go because it's D&D night. What I might do is, on the off days, I might actually be like, yeah, we're going to do a stream. So every other Tuesday might be a guaranteed stream day from now on. Thursdays are always going to be Thursdays are always going to be stream days because I have nothing better to do on Thursday night, and neither do most people, apparently, because nothing is ever scheduled on a Thursday. So we are just going to stream Thursdays. Fridays, not for the foreseeable future. So tomorrow I am also not going to be doing a stream, and I apologize for the late notice, but that is what it is. Saturdays are a little bit iffy. You know that first Saturdays in the month I'm usually going into the city to hang out, and if I'm going into the city, then I'm not doing streams. Also, FC might be doing other stuff that day, so probably Saturdays are no-go. Sundays might be the new stream day, because usually Sundays I'm winding down from whatever I did that weekend. Yes, there are still second Sundays for Ingress, so there might be like one Sunday a month where I don't actually go into, like the city or do anything. Or there might be one Sunday a month where I actually do go into the city and do stuff, so therefore there won't be a stream that day. But if that's the case, then I will let you know. But it might be that we're switching from Thursday and Friday to Thursday and Sunday, just so you guys know. But in any case, tomorrow for sure we are not streaming. So I apologize that this is the one and done, but it is what it is. I will say this though, like I said earlier, it's going to be a 3-day weekend, and my goal for this weekend is to finish up this draft, which means that I will probably need some help, by which I mean focus and hangout sessions. So, Friday and Saturday are probably no-goes. I'm planning on going into the city on Saturday anyway to take care of some business. Sunday, very likely there's going to be a stream, like 90% certain that we're going to be streaming on Sunday. Monday, well, that one's raid night, so there's not going to be a stream anyway, but you know, maybe we might do a midday stream. I don't know. Depends on how bored I get, / when I wake up, / what I'm making for dinner that week. So we'll see. It's all going to be all fun. But again, just to clarify, no stream tomorrow. Most likely stream on Sunday. We're switching to a Thursday only as a guarantee, and maybe a Tuesday and Sunday. So that's the schedule. This is also why I said on Blue Sky that I pack my schedule to the gills, and this is a bad habit of mine. It's to the point where I don't have any room to breathe, but I will survive. As we've also said, I will find a way to survive and not drive myself insane. But in any case, that's the schedule. That's what you guys can look forward to this week. If you're doing P2P Pit tomorrow, I wish you the best of luck. I think I've come to the decision that I'm not. I'm just thinking about that work schedule. But I will be there, and I will be on Blue Sky throughout the day, and I will like posts and boost them as I see them cross my dash. If you want me to look at yours, feel free to drop me an @. Well, don't drop it in the side of the post. The post itself should be dedicated to advertising, but like drop me an @ in your replies, or like drop me a DM. Go on to Discord and bother me. Do whatever you'd like to do, and I will come and support your stuff. If you're also chilling out with P2 Pit, I do hope that you have an excellent weekend. I realize that I'm kind of like rushing off, but it's currently 11 o'clock at night, and there's not too much else to talk about. We've already talked about like the meaning of life and how insane Buc-ee's is, and like Midwestern convenience stores and all kinds of other stuff. And I feel like there's not too much else that we can say tonight. We've covered the full spectrum of human experience. So I will just kind of like wrap it up, I guess. And if, like I said, if you're doing P2 Pit tomorrow, good luck. I'm pretty sure that the other pit events won't happen until after our stream day, but if you're doing those, good luck as well. But otherwise, I do hope that your raiding sessions are going to be productive this week, and I hope that you'll join me on Sunday. Like I said, 99% chance that there's going to be a stream. If there's not going to be a stream, I will let you know on Blue Sky and Discord. Other than that, just rock on and chill out. Not chill out, but I hope you have a chill week and a chill start to your weekend anyway. And I will see you guys 8 p.m. on Sunday evening. So take care, everybody, and thank you also for coming. I love these things. But take care of yourselves, and good night.